$2.2 billion imbalance, and lots of other problems. And after saying that, I said, well, there's no way he's going to endorse me. Now, I will say, once I told them the facts, and once I told the public the facts, he went from 22 or 24% down to 0 when he quit the race. So obviously, I would have loved to have gotten his support, but I didn't expect it, and I don't think it'll mean anything.
Now, he's the guy that you gave money to. You helped get him reelected.
Not only did I help him, he came up to my office a year ago or so, prior to, obviously, his run, which didn't work out so well for him. He came up to my office and he gave me a plaque, a beautiful plaque, which at some point I think I'll bring over to Wisconsin.
You said you think Trump, could you comment today on the battery charge against Corey Lewandowski?
Yeah, I can only say Corey's a fine person. I looked at the tape. The tapes were supplied by me. You know, those tapes, just so you understand. This is a very high-end club. And we had tapes all over the place, and we supplied those tapes. And those tapes, to me, are very conclusive. A lot of people are looking and saying, how can anybody be charged? She was actually, if you look at her, my book, and according to a lot of people, she's grabbing at me. And he's acting as an intermediary and trying to block her from doing that. The news conference was over. It was done. It was finished. And she was running up and grabbing and asking questions, and she wasn't supposed to be doing that. And I think he should, I told him, I said, you should never settle this case. You should go all the way. I think they've really hurt a very good person. And I know it'd be very easy for me to discard people. I don't discard people. I stay with people. That's why I stay with this country. That's why I stay with a lot of people that are treated unfairly. And that's one of the reasons I'm the front runner by a lot. If you look at that tape, he was very, very seriously maligned, and I think it's very unfair.
It's only an allegation, but what does it say about the campaign?
I think it says nothing about the campaign. I think if you look at it, he was trying to block her. That's the way I would view it. And she's grabbing me and asking questions. She's not even supposed to ask questions. You know, the press conference lasted for a long time, like 45 minutes. And I was leaving, and she runs up. And you can see, in fact, there are pictures where I could show you some. I actually have some in the other room. But there are pictures where she's grabbing my arm, and I'm going like this, trying to get her off. I think it's a disgrace that something like that could take place, and I'm shocked by it, and I'll stick by people. And I know it's probably not even politically good for me to do, but when somebody is maligned so unfairly as that, I will stick by.
Mr. Trump, it seems like a stacked deck in Wisconsin. What do you mean by that, and who's stacking it?
Well, I think we have a lot of people that are saying a lot of false things. I'm going to make much better trade deals than anybody in Wisconsin. Nobody can create jobs like I can create. Nobody's better on the border. Sheriff Joe Arpaio, as you know, from Phoenix, from the Phoenix area, from Arizona, is with me 100% and endorsed me because I'm the strongest on the border by far. You look at a guy like Ted Cruz, he's very, very weak on jobs. He doesn't know anything about jobs. He knows nothing about jobs. We call him Lion Ted because of what he did with Ben Carson, where he said Ben Carson had left the race, and he hadn't left the race at all. But there are many other things. And, look, I don't see Ted Cruz making it. I don't think Ted Cruz could win the general at all. And I think I'll beat Hillary Clinton very easily. Once I put my mind to beating Hillary Clinton, right now I have 2 other people that I want to beat. And hopefully I'll start that process and complete that process in Wisconsin.
Just to clarify, you said that you're going to stick by Corey, but will his role change at all in the campaign as this case unfolds?
Well, I hope not. I think it's really unfair. It's a very unfair thing to a person. I was watching some of the television coverage, and a lot of people were on television saying, how could somebody be charged for that? I mean, they see it. I'm the one that gave the tapes. Nobody else gave the tapes. The tapes were from me. And they see it, and they see what took place, and it's so minor. And if you look at her initial statements before she knew that we had tapes of her, she was talking about being pulled down or dragged down or something to that effect. And all of a sudden, when she saw that there were tapes, she changed her tone a little bit. I think it's a very, very sad thing, and I think it's very unfair to a good person. He's got a family. He's got 4 beautiful children. I think it's very, very unfair to a man with a wonderful family back in New Hampshire who gets, a criminal situation over that? In fact, some of the reporters are saying, a number of them tweeted, but some of them said, wow, that was minor compared. You get pushed around, you get shoved. And she was grabbing me. Does that mean that I'm supposed to file charges against her? She was grabbing me. That's why you see the picture of me like that. Now, maybe he was trying to get her off of me. But I think it's a very, very sad day in this country when a man can be destroyed over something like that. And you just look at that tape throughout the whole process, and you see how unfair it is. It's a very unfair. He's a good person. He's a good person with a wonderful family. And for him to be charged over something like that. And remember, she grabbed me before he even broke anything. And it almost looks like he's just trying to create a little room. Because to be honest with you, the news conference had finished. It was over. It was done. And I was leaving, rapidly leaving the premises. All of a sudden, she bolts out of nowhere. So I think it's very, very unfair. All right,
let me ask you about Paul Ryan. You're in Paul Ryan's country here. This is blue collar union.
Right.
What policies do you think you can work with Speaker Ryan on that you would both agree on?
Well, I'll tell you one policy that whether we agree or not, I'm going to do if I win, and it's going to be great for Wisconsin and for the country, and that's trade. Because our jobs are being sucked away. I have some of the statistics from Wisconsin. Wisconsin is doing very poorly, by the way, for those that know. And the reason that Walker went way down, and even though I supported him initially, and he thanked me by coming up to my office and handing me a plaque, the reason that Walker went way down is because when I gave all of the statistics on how badly Wisconsin's doing, the jobs that are being taken away, the businesses, the lack of growth, when I gave all of those statistics, he couldn't dispute them. I mean, they're there, and I'll be giving them again.
Dispute some of those.
Well, I don't know what PolitiFact. I don't care. I get these statistics from government agencies. I mean, they're just perfect statistics.
Do you think he
So I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that during my first speech.
Do you think he mishandled the public union issue?
Well, I can say this. Wisconsin is in turmoil. It's always in turmoil. I sit back in different states and I watch and I see that Wisconsin is constantly fighting and recall elections. And I've never seen anything like it, frankly, in the country. So you could make a case it's a good thing because they're fighters. You could also make a case it's a bad thing. There's a lot of hate going on in Wisconsin, and I think it's bad. But worse than that are the numbers. Your numbers are terrible, and I will give you those numbers. In fact, I have them. If you want, I could get them right now.
Scott Walker's numbers, though, when you look at his approval rating among GOP primary voters, is very high. You're going after him. Is that a gamble?
No, I don't care about a gamble. Here's the thing. I think he's probably a nice guy. I mean, he came in dressed in a motorcycle outfit with a motorcycle, like he's a big, strong motorcycle guy. By the way, the motorcycle people love me. It's like my highest demographic. They love me. I go to things, I have 700 motorcycles waiting for me with people. So I don't know what he was doing, but he was, constantly riding around on motorcycles. If the people like him, that's fine. I think he's a nice person. I don't care about whether he's nice or not. You look at the statistics on what's happening with jobs and many other factors in Wisconsin. You look at your $2.2 billion deficit. You look at your numbers. They were so negative that I didn't even use all of them. I didn't know how bad they were until I looked today. So he's now fair game. I would have never said this, but he's now fair game because he endorsed Cruz, who's never going to win, by the way. He's too strident. Cruz has no chance of winning in the general election. Zero. But and I don't think he has a chance of getting the nomination, frankly. And he's way behind. He's won 6 states or 7 states. I've won, I think, 21 or 22 already. I say this. It's only results oriented. I look at what's going on in Wisconsin. I have so many friends in Wisconsin. It's a great place. I think I'm going to do really well in Wisconsin, I hope. I'm going to be here for a long period of time until Tuesday evening, until the election evening, maybe stay overnight then. If I win, I'll stay overnight. If I don't win, I may get out of there a little bit quicker, right? But I think I have a very good chance of winning Wisconsin. I will say this. When I reveal today, which I'm going to do with my speech, how bad the numbers are in Wisconsin, how jobs have been taken away by foreign countries, it's unbelievable, and I had no idea. Even when I beat him, and don't forget, I was the one that beat Scott Walker in the primaries. It was nobody else. That's why when he left, he said, we have to stop Donald Trump. We have to stop Donald Trump. Because I went after him. And all I did, I wasn't bad to him. I just told the numbers of how poorly Wisconsin is doing. And he left the race very early. He gave up. He quit very, very early, earlier than most. Jeb stayed around and others stayed around, but he really left very early. And frankly, I don't even know why he left that early, but his poll numbers went way down. They went from being like the leader of the pack into almost the back of the pack. The reason I was able to do that so easily is because his numbers are horrible in Wisconsin. I'll be revealing those numbers, and they're numbers you probably have, but you don't report them. Because a lot of people think he does a good job as governor, and he's a nice person. I don't mind. I'm just going to reveal the numbers, and you see for yourself. Look at what's happened to the jobs. Look at what's happened to your growth. Look at what's happened to trade, how horrible trade has been for Wisconsin, how devastating it's been for Wisconsin. And you're in the middle of the pack. So we'll be talking about it at the speech.
Mr. Trump, you got kicked around on talk radio, in Wisconsin conservative talk radio. You got kicked around yesterday on that. There were headlines saying,
Not kicked around.
well, Sykes, destroys.
I don't know anything about Sykes. Look, I think I did very well with
Well,
Sykes.
did you not know that talk radio?
I heard.
Wisconsin
I
is
heard
leading
they
the
were
charge
against
for the
me.
Never Trump.
No, I
movement.
heard they were against me. I understand that. They're for the establishment, and they're for guys that are running. The problem with this country is we have the establishment out there, including those people. Now, you take a look at Rush Limbaugh, and he likes Trump. And you take a look at a lot of the other ones, Michael Savage, many of the other ones, they really like Trump a lot. This particular group, I was told they're not going to be very nice, and frankly, they were fine. It was, if you listen to that debate, you would say Trump won on the merits. Because Wisconsin is not doing well. It's not doing well. Now, people can say, oh, that's insulting. It's not insulting. It can do well, but we have to change trade policies because we are getting ripped off in the whole country by trade, by jobs, by other countries.
What's your
There's a lot
response
of
to
hate in
Trump? You
Wisconsin.
said
How would your policies?
A lot of what?
A lot of hate in Wisconsin. How would your policies not increase that hate?
Well, I think it's going to increase jobs. It's going to increase incomes. It's going to increase profits. It's going to increase a lot of things, and it won't be. But there's a lot of hate in Wisconsin. I mean, I looked at those rallies. I looked at those, that tremendous, that interaction between groups of people. And I said, wow, is this in the United States? That was tough. And I give Walker in one way I give him credit because he was willing to withstand it. In another way, I don't give him credit because, you'd like to be able to bring people together a lot better than that. But when I looked at his numbers and how bad Wisconsin is doing, that's why there's such hatred. All you have to do is look at the numbers. When you look at the numbers on how poorly Wisconsin is doing in jobs and trade and so many other things, the farming, how they're getting killed, then you understand why there's such hatred and such fighting in Wisconsin.
Well, let me ask you
Women,
Wisconsin.
you said that there's no one who's a bigger supporter of women.
Nobody.
So this
Nobody is a
incident-
bigger supporter of women than Donald Trump.
This incident with Michelle Fields, though, are you worried that will undermine that?
I don't
statement?
think so.
Especially because Democrats,
It's
some Republicans are
yeah, I
already
know.
jumping
It's
on
very
it.
interesting. I know Piers Morgan and many people, they saw that tape and they said, you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. Again, the tape was given by me because my places are very successful and I have cameras all over the ceiling. That tape was given by me. So maybe it was political, maybe it was something, but when you look at that tape, I guarantee you were pushed around more getting onto this plane right now than she was pushed around. You take a look at this. Look at you folks back here with the cameras on this small space. You got pushed around more than she got pushed around. I just can't stand by and watch a man's life be destroyed, and take a look at her original statement. Just look at her original statement before she knew that Donald Trump is rich and has cameras all over the ceiling so that we can protect people from the standpoint of security, fire, etc., etc. Take a look at her original statement, the first words out of her mouth about her going down and, pulled down or something to that effect. She was pulled down. She didn't pull down. She doesn't even change her expression. I mean, I looked at the tape. And by the way, if he was that way, I would have fired him in 2 seconds. I wouldn't care. I couldn't have cared less. But I looked at the tape. There's not even a change of expression on her face. And then I looked at internet, and you take a look at the tweets, and people are saying, you got to be kidding me.
So you don't
Let
think
me
your
ask you about
campaign's
Wisconsin.
initial-
Let me
you
ask
don't
you
think your
about
campaign's
Wisconsin,
initial
Mr. Trump.
response to all this should have been
I think
different?
it's something that's disgraceful. I think that you as a reporter and all of you as a reporter probably get treated a lot rougher than that on a daily basis. I have never seen anything like it. I cannot imagine how they did it. He's got a very good lawyer. They will fight it. I told him he should never settle that case. And I know that is not to my benefit. But I think when people see that tape and they take a look at that tape and they take a look at her initial statement before she knew she was on tape, take a look at that. You have to see it. You take a look at her initial statement. It sounded like she got thrown out of a building. You take a look at that and then, excuse me?
She did get bruises on her arm.
I don't know if they were bruises from that. Why? Who said they were bruises from that? How do you know those bruises weren't there before?
That's what the police...
I don't know what the police said. How do you know those bruises weren't there before? I'm not a lawyer, but she said she had a bruise on her arm. I mean, to me, if you're going to get squeezed, wouldn't you think that she would have yelled out a scream or something if she has bruises on her arm? Take a look at her.
Let me ask you about
Take a look at her facial expression. Her facial expression doesn't even change. So, you say bruises are up. How did they get there? Who put them there? I don't know that he put them there. In any event, I'm sticking up for a person because I'm not going to let a person's life be destroyed over somebody that we have on tape. And you just take a look at what people are saying when they see that incident on tape. And no jury, in my opinion, no jury would convict a man and destroy a man's life over what you would.
Let me ask you about
trying to
Wisconsin.
appeal to the Latino vote. I wanted to ask you about that.
I think I'm doing great with the Hispanics. And the Hispanics are great people. I have thousands that work for me, tens of thousands over the years. Just at Doral, I own Doral in Miami, and just at Doral alone, I have probably 800-900 Hispanics working for me. I have many, many Hispanics. They're phenomenal people. I just say that in the case of Mexico, we're being treated very badly. We have a trade deficit of $58 billion, and they're treating us very badly. They could stop the drugs from coming in if they wanted. Mexico could stop the drugs from coming into our country. I won New Hampshire, the state of New Hampshire. And I said to those people, because they told me the number one problem they have is heroin pouring in from the southern border. I said, if I get elected, I'm going to stop it. I won in a landslide, New Hampshire. You saw that. When you look at beautiful New Hampshire and you say their number one problem is heroin, well, you have a huge drug problem in Wisconsin. Everybody does. And it's pouring in through the border. I'm the only one that's going to stop it. Politicians all talk, no action. Guys like Cruz, he's all talk. These are not people that are going to stop it, believe me. All he can do is talk, and frankly, in my opinion, he doesn't talk very well. And he's under great pressure because he's losing badly, and he doesn't react well under pressure. I've seen that. And all you have to do is take a look at the debates. Every one of the debates, the polls said I won every single debate. And he's a politician. All he does is debate.
Bruce the challenge due to a debate instead of the town hall.
We've had 11 debates. According to the polls, I've won every single debate. I don't think we can be asked any more questions that we haven't been. Same questions, same people. Everybody knows. They know what they're getting. With me, we're going to get great trade deals. We're going to have a strong military. We're going to take care of our vets. We're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to have a great country again.
So you're saying no more debates?
With any of these politicians, and remember this, very importantly, I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money. These guys, Cruz and what do we have left now? Kasich, right? They're getting their money from special interest groups. They're getting money from lobbyists. Those lobbyists have total control over these people. What's good for the country, they often won't do because their special interest group doesn't want them to do it. With me, I'm only here. Look, I don't know. I think I'm going to win. I'm doing very well. But if I don't, a lot of people said, why do you even do this? Why do you do this? You have a great life. You have a great family. You have a lot of money. You've built one of the greatest companies in America. My company's phenomenal. And I built one of the greatest companies in America. And they say, well, why do you do this? I do it because I want to give back. I'll tell you something. We have a country that's in serious trouble. We have a president that doesn't want to say radical Islamic terrorism. He doesn't want to acknowledge what's happening to us and all over the world. I do it because I want to give back, because I think I can give back something that nobody else can. And the beauty is that I'm funding my own campaign. So Johnson & Johnson and all of these big pharmaceutical companies and all of these big oil and gas companies like Support Cruz and all of these big companies have nothing to do with me. I don't need to do anything for them because they gave me nothing. I didn't take any of their money.
Mr. Trump, let me ask you, I talked to the first Wisconsin female lieutenant governor, Margaret Farrell. She's not a feminist, but she said she used to teach 6th and 7th grade. And she said if some of her students said some of the things you say about men and women, they would be in a lot of trouble.
I became a politician 8 months ago. During my life, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of victories, mostly victories, almost all victories, but I've had a lot of victories. I've had a lot of fun. I go do shows like Howard Stern, who's actually a much different guy in person than he is on the air, and I do lots of things and never thinking I was going to be a politician. And believe me, if you got a guy like Cruz talking to his friends or his buddies at the table, if you got a guy like Kasich talking, they act like, oh, they're so innocent, they're wonderful people. If you got a Kasich talking to his friends and his buddies at the table or on the golf course, because he says that's what he does, he watches golf all the time on television, which is wonderful. Let's see what they said, okay? Let's see what they said.
Is it presidential?
And I did say nothing's presidential except victory. Victory is presidential. And I did say about Rosie O'Donnell, and I did say about Megyn Kelly, because she doesn't treat me right. I'm on her show all the time, and she doesn't treat me right. She shouldn't put me on the show all the time. And if she didn't put me on the show, her ratings would drop like a rock. And she's only successful, frankly, I think she's successful mostly because she follows Bill O'Reilly. but that's beside the point. So I say things about certain people, and I'm open about it. But I will say this, you go behind the scenes and you see what Ted Cruz, I don't know if anybody saw the video that he made of him and his family praying, where they were doing retakes, takes all over, and it lasted for hours. Why don't you go study that video and you tell me whether or not he's real? You tell me whether or not Ted Cruz is real. Go get the video that they made that was released, and I think you know the video I'm talking about. You get the video where they were making commercials and using his family in a not very nice way, and you play that video for the people of Wisconsin, and you tell me whether or not Ted Cruz was real. Because I'll tell you what, he's not real, and I know people. I've made billions of dollars because I understand people.
Your immigration policies, a lot of people here in the state are scared about because we have a huge dairy farming industry. That industry relies on immigrant labor to be successful. They're telling me if you round up all of the immigrants and deport them, the agricultural economy in the state is going to go bust.
When you need help, the people are going to be able to come in. When you can't get people, they're going to come in, but they're going to come in through a legal method. When you need help, we have the same thing up in the wine country in California, and when they need help, those people are going to come in, they're going to show they can't get them, and they're going to have them, and they're going to come in legally. It's going to be a wonderful system. They're going to come in legally. But we have people coming in all over. Right now we have 179,000 illegal criminal immigrants. Okay, these are criminals. These are people convicted of crimes, and they're all over the United States. And we're having, whether it's Kate in San Francisco or Jamil in California, we're having killings, murders. We're having things. The 65-year-old veteran, female veteran, who was raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant. We're having killings all over this country, and now on top of it, we're starting to take over people from Syria. And we don't know if they're ISIS related. We don't know who they are, where they are. There's no documentation. And Trump is going to stop it. Now, maybe people think my stance is tough. I said we have to have a temporary ban on Muslims. And now people are sort of saying, wow, that's not a bad idea. When I first said it, everybody said, no way. When I talked about Brussels a few months ago is a hellhole, I said Brussels is a hellhole. The New York Times did a big, major story on me saying what a horrible thing to say about Brussels. And then you see what happened a couple of days ago. And now everybody's saying Trump was right. I was right about a lot of things. I was right about taking the oil. I was right about Osama bin Laden because I talked about him before he blew up the World Trade Center. I was right about a lot of things. And I think I have a lot better handle on this. And by the way, I'm right about NATO. We have NATO, and we're giving countries a free ride. We are really, NATO is obsolete, it's old, it's fat, it's sloppy, and we are giving, and it doesn't talk about terrorism, and we're giving countries a free ride. We are taking countries, and we are paying a totally disproportionate share. We owe $19 trillion. It's going to be soon $21 trillion because of that horrible budget that was just passed, the omnibus budget. And I want to tell you, what we have with NATO is a disgrace, and we could also go into the United Nations. That'll be next.
Paul Ryan doesn't agree about banning Muslims.
I don't care if he does or not. I mean, if he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm saying I think until we find out what's going on, we have to do. Look, the man, this wise guy, horrible human being that was caught last week, he was living with all of his friends. He was staying a few doors down from where he grew up. They all knew he was there. Everybody admits they all knew he was there. They never turned him in. Why didn't they turn him in? They should have turned him in. Instead, the cops found him by luck and go in shooting. Now, why didn't they turn him in? Why didn't the people in San Bernardino who killed 14 people in California, why didn't their neighbors say that there were bombs all over their apartment? There were bombs all over that apartment. Their neighbors saw the bombs. Why didn't they say, hey, wait a minute, these people are up to really bad things. There happen to be many bombs all over the floor of the apartment. That's not a normal situation. Why didn't they turn them in? We got a really big problem with radical Islamic terrorism, and until our country realizes it, and until our president is willing to talk about it, but he's gone now. He's out of it. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I mean, our president is grossly incompetent, and I don't think he has any clue what he's doing. But until he's willing to mention the name of the problem, you can just, I mean, we're going to have, and this is a problem that is getting bigger and bigger and worse, and mark my words, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Unless I'm elected president, I will stop the problem. Okay, we got to go. Whoops. Sorry.
Can you talk about...
Okay, thank you, everybody. I'll see you at the speech.
Favorite number 12.
Thank you.
Favorite number 12.
Let's go.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Thanks,
you.
fellas. Be careful with the
Hello, America. We're Brothers in Arms, and you're watching Right Side Broadcasting Network.
The Trump Train's #1 source for live video and political news from the campaign trail.
Download our song, Trump for America, on iTunes or your favorite digital download site.
Let's make America great again. Let's keep the movement going. America, don't be a chump. Vote for Trump.
States of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump.
I feel so badly. Outside we have 5,000 people and they can't get in. I feel badly. I want to apologize. We have speakers outside, but I want to apologize. Who would have thought? We have over 5,000 people cannot get in. So now, does anybody want to leave and give your place to somebody outside? No. I had a feeling you might be saying that. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be with you. Very important. You know, we're doing really well. Millions of votes ahead of Cruz. Millions. You know, I get a kick. I call him Lion Ted. Lion Ted Cruz. He stands up, and I win, as you know, you've seen it. I have been winning all of the evangelical vote. But he stands up, Bible high, puts it down, and then he lies. You know, it's like an amazing, it's amazing to watch it. But he said, I'm the only one that can beat Donald Trump. I've done it time after time. And I said, wait a minute, I've won like most of the states. I think he had 5 or 6 and I had 20 or 22. Right? And I said, I can't believe it. Then I have millions of votes more. He says, I'm the only one that can outvote him. And I'm saying, but I have like millions of votes more. I'll tell you something so important. There is something happening. It's like a movement. It's incredible. It's a movement, and we're part of the movement. It's not me. I'm a messenger, to be honest. I'm a messenger. And this is something that's so special and so amazing. And it's on the cover of Time magazine. It's on the cover of every newspaper. It's something that has maybe never happened, and they're saying it's a phenomena. Sometimes they say, I'm a phenomena. I'm not. The message is what we want. We want jobs. We want jobs. We want trade deals that are smart deals, not stupid deals. And, you know, Wisconsin, I wrote down some notes. And look, I thought I had a day this year. You know, it's one of those things. Look, I wrote down some notes, and it's like devastating. So Walker came out today. I wrote down notes about Wisconsin. Look, he certainly can't endorse me after what I did to him in the race, right? But look at this. By the summer of 2015, Wisconsin was facing a $2.2 billion 2-year budget deficit. That's terrible. By the way, these are out of books, right? This isn't Trump. This is out of books. Total state debt is $45 billion. Now, maybe somebody's going to tell me that's wrong, but again, these are $45 billion, very high, one of the higher ones. 20,000 fewer people in labor force in Wisconsin than 7 years ago, even though population has grown by 100,000. So your population is higher. And now I wouldn't have done this, but when he endorsed Cruz, what am I going to do? Am I going to say he's doing a great job? He's not doing a great job. You know, he comes in his motorcycle jacket, a big Harley. I love Harleys, right? But the motorcycle guys like Trump. They really like Trump. And he doesn't look like a motorcycle guy to me. I'm sorry. Unemployment rate, well, they say, that can't be possible. Unemployment rate, they have down 20%. That can't be possible. What? Is it 20%? Effective or regular? I mean, just effective unemployment rate 20%. Hey, this is out of the big book. 800,000 food stamp recipients. Middle class hit very, very hard due to loss of manufacturing jobs. These are the stats, right? You know about this, right? It goes on and on. Wisconsin has lost 15,000 net jobs to Mexico since NAFTA. Now, just so you understand, Kasich is running also. We forget about him. He voted for NAFTA. Both of them want TPP. TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, both of them want Trans-Pacific. That will make NAFTA look like a baby. And Wisconsin will be hit so hard. You a motorcycle guy? I'll bet, right? Am I right? Do they love Trump? I don't even know why. I'm not big with the motorcycles. But the motorcycle guys love Trump. Oh, look, I love the disabled veterans and the veterans. We're going to take care of our veterans. You know that, right? We're going to take care of our veterans. What is it about Trump that they like? Seriously, we went to Hilton Head. We went to different places. And there were hundreds of bikers out there. Beautiful bikes. Lots of Harleys, right? Lots of Harleys. But made in America. But beautiful, beautiful bikes. What is it with the motor? Why do they like me? Tell me.
We don't take any shit.
Who said that? Who has said? I love it. I don't know what it is. But they like me. I feel good with them. I feel safe. I got out. I took a picture. Secret Service went crazy. I said, these are great people. Don't worry about it. But listen, I appreciate it, fellas. I appreciate it. I know. It does keep you free. You're right. We're going to keep you free. I'm going to keep you free. Because we're getting rid of ISIS. We're going to have good borders. We're going to have borders again. We're going to have borders again. So here we have something that's pretty interesting. 100. I love you too. You lost 70,000 jobs to China. 70,000 jobs. 100,000 illegal immigrants living in Wisconsin. Taxpayers are paying tens of millions of dollars a year. Look, I don't know. I don't know. So what happened with Walker, and we'll finish off with this. He's a nice man. He came up to my office like about a year ago, before I did the run. You know, I've been a politician for about 8 months, right? I never thought I'd be a politician. The last thing in my mind I wanted to be was a politician. But I built a great company. I filed papers. The company is incredible. A very little debt, tremendous cash flow, some of the great assets of the world. And I say that not in a bragging way. I say that because that's the kind of thinking we need, folks. I mean, we can't have China ripping us off, and Mexico and Japan and Vietnam. We can't have it. We can't have it. And they are ripping us like they've never ripped anybody before. We've rebuilt China. I mean, we're rebuilding Mexico. You looked the other day, you saw Carrier moving down. Carrier air conditioner. I buy those air conditioners, a lot of them. I'm not buying any more of them. But Carrier air conditioner moving to Mexico. Ford moving to Mexico. Nabisco, home of the wonderful, formerly wonderful Oreo, which we don't need anymore, right? We don't need it. We don't need it. Number one, it's a good way. It's a good order. It's called enforced diet. But you know what? Look, we're losing our jobs. Look at your jobs. When I see that statistic, I mean, you're losing your jobs. When I went after your governor, when he decided to run, and I said, you know, I'm going to be nice to him. He's a nice guy. The guy came up to my office. He handed me a plaque because I supported him. What do I know? I supported him. I gave him $50,000 or $100,000. That's a lot of money for a guy you never met before, right? That's pretty good. But I like the fact he was fighting. He was always fighting. You know, to a certain extent, I'd rather see somebody able to make a deal without having to go through all of that mess. But he was fighting, and I gave him a lot of money. And he came up, you know, a year ago or so, and he gave me a plaque. Beautiful picture of something. I never really got to read it, to be honest. And I put it aside. That was it. I just had my girl find it. She just called. She said, Mr. Trump, I've just found it. A wonderful woman comes up, and I said, where is it? She said, I think I know. And she found it under a pile of a lot of other plaques. So I'll bring it. I'm going to try getting it if I can tomorrow or the next day, so do will. Because I'm going to be here the whole week. I'm going to be in Wisconsin the whole week. Because if we win Wisconsin, it's like going to be over, pretty much over. Because we're going to do great. Emerson poll came out. I think I have 68% in New York compared to like 10% or whatever. And you had Cruz talking about New York values. New Yorkers are no good. I watched New Yorkers rebuild the World Trade Center. I watched New Yorkers dying. Believe me, New Yorkers are good. New Yorkers are very good. But Cruz said they're no good. So anyway, I think we're going to do great in New York. We're going to do great in New Jersey. Chris Christie endorsed me. We'll do great in New Jersey. Good guy. Ben Carson endorsed me. Sarah Palin endorsed me. Sheriff Joe from Arizona. We love Sheriff Joe. And, you know, with the evangelicals, I've had so many ministers. I've had so many pastors endorse me. And Jerry Falwell Jr. endorsed me. It was incredible. And we've done so well with the with the evangelicals. I mean, Christians, evangelicals, we've done so well. In fact, in South Carolina, when we went to South Carolina, that was going to be Cruz's territory. He was going to take it. Except we won in a landslide. You know that. You saw it. He was there. This guy follows me around, I'll tell you. But you were there, right? You remember he was going to win that in a landslide. And then I started speaking. I started talking to people. And I started saying, you know, the good and the bad and the ugly. And we won in a landslide. And we won the evangelicals. I've won just about, I think, almost every place I've won with the evangelicals. And it's been an amazing time. So now I'm here to talk to the people of Wisconsin. I have friends in Wisconsin. I've been here before. It's an incredible place, but it's a place that has problems. But you have a governor that has you convinced that it doesn't have problems. Now, I remember when he was on the campaign trail, I was so nice to him. You know, I said, how can I hit him? I'm not going to hit him. I'm not going to hit him. And I was so nice. I hit Jeb instead, right? Right? And I hit Rand. And I hit a lot of people, and they all went down. Wouldn't it be nice to have a president that could just, with his mouth, make things happen that are positive? You know? But it's not with the mouth. It's really with the mouth, the heart, and the brain. Remember the brain. I have a lot of friends. They're good with the mouth, but they're not good with the brain. It all doesn't work, okay? You know, we had an interesting thing today. A poll came out, a nationwide poll. It was a great poll. It was Trump 48. It was an NBC poll. Trump 48. I think Cruz was second in the 20s, mid-20s, something. And Kasich was way down. So what happened is they show the poll. It was an NBC poll. They call it NBC Monkey Poll. And it was on the Today Show. And it was on Morning Joe. Morning Joe held it up. He said, wow, those are great numbers. 48 is pretty good. You have 3 people, you know. I don't get enough credit for that. I've been at 42, 44, 45, and I've had like 7 people. How do you get 45 when you have 7 people? Nobody says that. They said, he hasn't cracked 50 yet. How do you crack 50 when you have all these people running? So I'm at 48. The poll was good. Way, way ahead of anybody else nationwide. And they showed Hillary Clinton. Hers is very close. She's got a little problem. Couldn't happen. Got a bigger problem with emails than she has, I think, with Bernie, to be honest with you. She should have. Her bigger problem should be with emails. We'll find out. We'll find out how honest our country is, right? But she's got a sort of close race. And they put her poll up. It was, you know, put up there, big letters. And then they said, and Donald Trump is winning. That was it. They didn't put numbers up. They didn't say, I'm doing great. In fact, they actually said Donald Trump is winning, and they put a little slightly negative statistic in. It was like, wait a minute. They put her numbers up, and they didn't put my numbers up. Folks, it's so unfair. The press is so dishonest, it's unbelievable. That was Chuck Todd. That was Chuck Todd. This morning on the Today Show, check it out. They put Hillary's numbers up, and I'm winning by a lot. And they said Donald Trump is winning. You know, let's go to a new subject, okay? Now, I guarantee you one thing. If I was losing or doing poorly, it'll still be up. It'll be up all morning. Because they don't like what's happening. I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money. They don't like it. Ted Cruz and Kasich are getting money from the banking industry, from the energy industries. They're getting money from the pharmaceutical companies. They're getting money from everybody. Folks, you can't straighten out this mess. We're in a mess if you can't do what you have to do. When millions of dollars are given to Cruz and Kasich and millions from different industries, you're not going to be able to say, well, we're going to do and go against the banking industry to do what's right for the people if the banking industry gave you millions of dollars. Now, that's true with Hillary also because she's gotten millions of dollars. But I'm the only one self-funding my campaign. I'm in for a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. What was beautiful is when I was running against Jeb in New Hampshire, I was in for $2 million. Jeb was in for like $48 million. I was in first, and he was close to last. I said, who do you want as your president? By the way, did Jeb endorse anybody yet? Because I think Jeb probably endorsed. Must have endorsed. Huh? Did he endorse? That shows you how important it is. Nobody even knows. I don't even know. No, he probably. Look, he'll endorse. Just so you know, look. When you're in war, you got to fight. And you fight hard. When I fight, I win. You're going to win. You know that. You're going to win. But, you do pretty serious damage, right? Because you want to win fast. And a lot of people don't love you after you're finished. But I just love you. I don't care about them. In fact, they're asking Cruz, at the debate, which, by the way, they said, I won every single debate. Now I heard the other night, it said, I want to debate Trump. I've debated him 11 or 12 times. Every single online poll has me winning the debates. And he's an okay debater, but he's a bad talker. Everything's so dramatic. Oh, and he waits, phony. And he waits. Ever see, he goes sentence after sentence, then he stops for like 3-4 seconds. And then he goes again. It looks like we're in the theater. We're not in the theater, we're in the real world. So what happens, thank you. That's all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. By the way, the sheriff is here. He's a great guy, and his people are fantastic. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. The only thing I feel so guilty about all the people outside. Feel so guilty. We're going to come back. I'm going to come back. We're going to come back to this area. You guys cannot come. Okay? All of the ladies can come, but the guys can't. But, all of the people outside, we're going to take a bigger place. We're going to get something because I feel slightly guilty. But look, we have a very serious mess on our hands. We have a serious situation. We have a country that's not protected. We have a country that's sitting on a big fat bubble that's going to explode. In a certain way, I say, let it do now. Don't do it after I get in. 3 days later, it'll explode. They'll say it's Trump's fault, okay? We are in a big, fat, ugly bubble. We have interest rates that are so low that if you're rich, like me, I can borrow money for any amount. If you're a hard-working guy with a great farm or you're a hard-working developer or businessman, you can't borrow money. You can only borrow money really cheaply. Think of how bad that is. You can borrow money for nothing, practically, if you're rich. But if you're rich, you don't need the money, so you don't have to borrow it. But if you're a business person, you want to go to the bank for a loan, you can't get it. The regulators are running the banks. Dodd-Frank is a disaster, by the way. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. But the biggest disaster, our regulations, our rules regulations are horrible. We're going to get rid of probably 85% of them. There are some we live with. But we got to go back. So many people from this area have told me regulations, regulatory climate is the worst they've ever seen it. I have a friend, he's a farmer, and if a puddle forms, they consider it a lake for purposes of environmental. It's like a puddle, and they consider it a lake. But we don't know what we're doing. So here's what's happening. We're going to make our country so great again. We're going to make our country so strong again. Our military is going to be so amazing. We're never going to have to use it. Don't forget, I didn't want to go into Iraq. All these guys think that I'm a tough guy, so I'll be so quick with the trigger. I'm not going to be quick. I was the slowest with the trigger. I didn't want the trigger. Now, when Obama left, though, he shouldn't have left the way he did. He gave a certain date, and the enemy said, it can't be possible. Nobody would be that stupid. Nobody. So I actually don't think it hurt that much because I don't think the enemy ever believed that anybody would be stupid enough to give a date. We're leaving on this date. And then he left. They said he was serious. They pulled back. Then you see what happened. They pulled back and then they went in with fury. But how about the 50 soldiers? He sold a few months ago. He sent 50 of our finest. And instead of just sending them quietly sending them, what does he do? He sends them in. And he makes a big press conference or announcement that we are sending 50 soldiers into Iraq, Syria, and now these soldiers have a big target on their back. Why can't we just keep our mouths shut? Why can't we be unpredictable? Right? Why can't we be unpredictable? Why does he have to First of all, it doesn't even sound good when you say 50 soldiers because it sounds like so small. People would say, is that good or bad? I mean, that sounds small. But then when you think about it, why do we have to say that? These are extraordinary people. These are our finest, and they're, very dangerous mission. Why would you tell people that we're sending them in? You just keep quiet. and let them accomplish something. They are right now, who knows what's happened to them, but right now they have a big target on their back. People that we've let go of Gitmo have now killed Americans. You've seen that. You saw that yesterday. That came out yesterday. We let people go out of Gitmo and they kill Americans. Okay. Is anybody surprised at that, though? Would anybody be surprised? And we're keeping it open. Now they're spending, hundreds of millions to run it. I guarantee you could run it a lot cheaper. You'd have a lot of money left over. So we're going to get efficiency in government, but we're going to end Obamacare. We're going to replace it. We're going to replace it with something so much better and so much less expensive. We're going to get rid of Common Core. We're going to bring our education local. We are going to preserve our Second Amendment. It's under siege. It's totally under siege. And Christianity's under siege. I'll tell you, Christianity's under siege. You take a look. I'm with these. I'll tell you what, I've been with so many pastors lately, and Jerry Falwell Jr. as an example was telling me that, first of all, he told me something. He says, you remind me so much of my father. I thought his father was a great guy. What his father did with Liberty College and Liberty University, and then Jerry, to top it off, has taken that to a whole new place. But when Jerry was so strong and so great. But I probably had 50 of the ministers and pastors, different folks, came up to my office. And they're really under tremendous pressure because they don't want to have their tax-exempt status taken away. This happened during the Lyndon Johnson presidency. And I said, why is it that you folks are pushed around so much? Christianity. These are the pastors. And these are strong people. These are really strong people. Why do you allow them? Why aren't you more forceful? And finally somebody said, well, we have to be a little careful of our tax-exempt status. I said, when did that happen, actually? It was during the Johnson. Well, we're going to try getting rid of that, okay? Because that's really terrible. We're going to try getting rid of it. And I've said that to a lot of evangelicals, a lot of great Christians. We're going to try getting rid of it because it sort of means that somebody walking down the street has more power than somebody of religion, of our religion, of Christianity, somebody that's an evangelical. You take anybody, they have more power because these people are powerless. They've actually taken their right of free speech away. So I said, we're going to try and get rid of that, and I think we'll be very, very successful. It's interesting. I said, how many Christians are there? Because, we got men, we got women. You cut it in half, we actually have a few more women. But we have far more Christians than we have men or women. So in a way, it's the most powerful lobby. It's the biggest group of people. But they're not allowed to talk because they're petrified. You saw what was happening with the IRS, and you saw what was taking place with regard to certain groups. So we are going to try, and usually when I say try, that means I'm going to get it done. That means I'm going to get it done. But we are going to try very hard. We're going to get that brought back. And I think it's going to be very hard to counter it because if the Christians and if the whole evangelical Christian sector gets together, nobody can beat. When I made the statement about Muslims, banning Muslims on a temporary basis, I took such heat. Now people are saying, Trump is sort of right about that. Now they're all going, wow, because they see what's happening. And I think if I would have said it about Christians, I would have had less opposition. That's what's happened in this country, okay? That's what's happened in our country. And we can't let it happen. We're going to turn this country around, and we're going to be the smart people. We're not going to be the dummies anymore. We're not going to be where China made last year trade deficit $505 billion with a B, $billion. Japan, over $100 billion. Mexico, $58 billion. We're going to build a wall, and Mexico's going to pay for the wall, okay? I remember recently I was in Florida, and Marco, who's a nice guy, actually. You notice how nice they are after you've defeated them? I like everybody I defeat. But when I went against Marco, it was supposed to be a very... Oh, boy. Well, he started it, right? Just like Cruz started the last deal. He started it. But Marco came after me very viciously. He wanted to be Don Rickles, right? And it didn't work. But what happened is I won by 20 points, almost 20 points. And And a lot of these issues we were talking about, it was big issues. And frankly, I wish I would have left about 2 days early. I wanted to stay in Florida campaign. I wish I would have devoted 2 more days to Ohio because I almost won in Ohio. I would have won Ohio. But I didn't want to take a chance on leaving my beautiful Florida alone because I love Florida and I wanted to win that. So if I would have left a couple of days early, I think I would have won Florida probably by the same. But I'm not going to have anything happen in Wisconsin. We have to win. If we... Look, we have to put these politicians in their place, folks. It's time. And believe me, you know, Cruz likes to pretend he's an outsider. In the meantime, he gets all the establishment support, including your governor. So believe me, they're all establishment. And frankly, in a way, it's worse because Cruz is establishment, and yet he's got no relationship with the establishment. He goes and he stands on the floor of the Senate for a day and a half, and he filibusters. And these senators, look, I know, they're tough cookies. I have one of the great people, Senator Jeff Sessions. He's great. Nobody better than Jeff. And, you know, Cruz thought he was going to have him, and he'd use him in his speech as Senator Jeff Sessions, and then he comes out and he endorses me. But when you think of it, look, out of all of these senators, he has one supporter, Lee, who's his friend. I mean, it's his friend. But I'm sure, and by the way, it took him plenty of time to do it. But, you know, to stand there and to rant and rave for 2 days and to show people, you know, you can filibuster. In the meantime, nothing was accomplished. Cruz has not accomplished one thing. So he's an insider, but it's almost like the man on the street because he can't get anything done. He dislikes people. He calls people, like, for instance, he said horrible things about the speaker. And you know, he said about the speaker, and he said about, separately, Mitch McConnell. I mean, he said some terrible things about how do you get things done when you're calling Mitch McConnell bad names, okay? Let's just say bad names. So he's sort of got the worst of all elements. He's an insider totally, but he can get nothing done, okay? He can get nothing done. Your new speaker, how do you like Paul Ryan? How do you like him? You like him? Or you don't like him? All right. Wow. I was told be nice to Paul Ryan because, really? All right. Well, he's the speaker. He's a nice guy. He called me the other day. He was very nice. But I'm very surprised at this statement. Wow. Are you all Republicans? Are you mostly conservatives? Because I don't care. You know, the word, I always say I'm a commonplace, you know, just a common sense conservative. And so, it's so important. A common sense. And then somebody told me today that somebody else, I think Walker used my term. You know, Walker I said, make America great again. I said, make America great again. And I copyrighted the term. And then Walker was making a speech many months ago when he first started. And he was saying, make America great again, because he saw the response I got. The difference is he didn't get any response, you know, so it didn't help. But we told him you can't do that. That was the first little problem I had with him. He said you can't do it. Now I said a common sense conservative, and today I heard he used the term because the press was up and they interviewed me and they said he's a common sense conservative. Well, I coined the phrase a few months ago, but that's what I am. I'm a conservative person. I'm very, very conservative on the military. I'm very conservative with our vets and on health care and on lots of things. And I'm actually very conservative on trade, but a lot of people would say he's not that conservative on trade because he doesn't believe in free trade. Well, actually, I do believe in free trade. But it's got to be good trade for us, right? It's got to be smart trade. It can't be where Wisconsin's losing thousands and thousands of jobs, where you folks can't get into China, but China comes in here like it's Swiss cheese. That's what happens. You know, China does not obey the rules. Now, I get along great with China. I made a fortune dealing with China. I have 2 buildings because of China, big ones in New York and one in San Francisco, Bank of America, that I have in partnership with a great company. And it's because of China. I have one of the big leases with one of their big banks, with the biggest bank in the world, actually, from China. I sell millions and millions of dollars of condos to people from China. I like China. I'm not angry at China. I like them. I think their leaders are doing a great job for them. But our leaders are doing a bad job for us. Same with Mexico. I get along great. The Hispanics, I love the Hispanics. But their leaders are killing us on the border, and they're killing us on trade. And I'm not angry at them. I'm angry at our country and our leadership because it's grossly incompetent, and we're going to change it around, and we're going to get the best, and we're going to get the finest. So, what I thought I'd do, thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, whatever you can do to spread the word, I'll be around. I'm going to Green Bay. I love that team, by the way. You talk about a great franchise. No, I love it. And you have a truly great quarterback. I don't know. He's probably endorsing somebody else, but I don't care. He's still a great quarterback. Tom Brady's a friend of mine. He said you have a great quarterback. That's all I need, right? When Tom says he's a great quarterback, that's pretty good. But, you know, I really want to win Wisconsin, because if we can win Wisconsin, we're going to put all this stupidity away. We're going to put these stupid people that allow, and I'm talking about basically politicians. And in many cases, you know, a lot of times people will see deals that are done. And I mean, take a look at the Iran deal. How bad is that? I mean, just as a deal. Forget about countries. But many times people will say deals that the country makes, right? Deals, and they'll say, how can our politicians be so stupid? They're not stupid. They've been hit by the lobbyists and the special interests, and they make a fortune. Okay? They get tremendous campaign contributions. They're not stupid. They're doing it for themselves. So again, I'm not doing that. I'm doing for you. I'm working for you. But just remember, they're not so stupid like you think. But when you look at the people funding Cruz's campaign and Kasich's campaign, and you look, don't forget, Cruz said, oh, the banks, you know, he's going to be Robin Hood. He's going to be this great guy. And then, in his personal financial disclosure form, he forgot to mention that he borrowed like about $1 million from the banks, Citibank and Goldman Sachs. He borrowed $1 million at an interest rate that everybody in this room would be proud to have, a very low interest rate, almost no interest. He forgot to announce it on his personal financial disclosure form. He just forgot. He said, oh, I forgot. You know, so then he hits the banks. He's controlled by these people, folks, okay? I mean, what he did was absolutely wrong. But they're controlled by these people. I'm controlled by you. I'm going to do the right thing for you, okay? So remember that. So let's take a few questions, and then I'm off to Green Bay. I love that. Okay, let's go. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. My biker friends. We have to start with them.
22 veterans get killed or kill themselves.
22 veterans a day commit suicide. That's correct.
Over either wealth or not having a job or PTSD. What's your plans on that?
We're going to take care of our veterans so much. Look, let me tell you. Many of them kill themselves waiting for a doctor. They can't even get to see the doctor. You know that. They end up killing themselves before they see the doctor. 22 a day, and a lot of people don't even believe that number. They think it's almost like an impossible number. How could it be so bad? And it's actually could even be worse than that. But we are going to take care of them from the standpoint, they wait, then they get bad service, and they wait some more, 6, 7, 8 days, and sometimes they'll get to see the doctor, and the doctor says, I can't see you now, I'm going on vacation. You see the corruptness. I just left Phoenix. We had 21,000 people. Sheriff Joe was there. The job he did was incredible. You know, they had a little protest, right? That protest ended so quick. He arrested 3 people. Everyone else scattered. You know, and you have that kind of a sheriff here. You have a tough cookie here. I can tell you. I just met him, and I can tell you. But we're going to, you know, I have a great policy plan, and I've gotten a lot of credit for it. It's on DonaldJTrump.com. And with the veterans, when they're waiting for exorbitant times, even for a little time, they're going to go to the doctor. They're going to go to local doctors or local hospitals. Many of the hospitals are dying for business. You know that. They're dying. Some of these hospitals are dying. They're going to get immediate treatment, immediate service. We're going to pay the bill. And we're going to save a fortune, and they're going to get great service. And everybody is in love with it. Everybody loves it. And that's what's going to happen. So we're going to take care of our veterans. If we can't take care of our veterans, we can't take care of anyone. So we're going to take care of our vets. Go ahead. One more from my other biker friend here.
How about the veterans, such as myself, on the permanent total, unemployable, disabled veterans?
Boy, do you look good, though. You look good and tough. I wouldn't want to fight you. You think I could take you in a fight? I don't think so. What do you think? How about we do it right now? That'd be great for television. Go ahead. But I do have more hair than him, right? Go ahead. Yeah. I know, it's terrible. Why do they say, I mean, if you can say it, why are you unemployable?
Because of multiple situations that I have to do.
Okay, I got it. But
With multiple business that I have to be, my wife cannot work and she has to take me. So therefore we can't afford to put daycare.
right, I know that. Daycare is a problem.
So my income is only at a certain rate. Well, with that, only a month is allowed $100 per spouse and $50 per dependent.
I know.
So on top of the chart of what I get paid is only $2,800.
Right.
So then my wife only gets $100 a month, and my child only gets $50 a month.
Right. I know.
So
I've heard this many
it's a very
times.
big offset between.
Let me tell you, here's the problem. Our veterans are taken worse care of than illegal immigrants that come into the country illegally. Okay?
So not
You don't even have to write it down. We're going to do things about it.
not
You know
only
what?
so-
Because I know, you know what you're saying? I've heard this so many times before with the daycare and everything else. We are going to take care of our vets.
Well,
okay?
as veterans also don't get an annual increase.
That's right.
Well, you can do an executive
And by the way,
order.
speaking of increase, Cruz and Kasich want to destroy your Social Security, folks, okay? I want to bring money back into this country. I want to bring jobs into this country. I want to bring tremendous wealth into this country. I want to take our wealth back from China, from Mexico, from all of these countries that have our wealth. They've taken it like we're a bunch of babies. And we're going to save your Social Security and we're going to save your Medicare. They want to get rid of it. Okay, remember that.
Well, without saying that too, is also that you can give a veteran with a disability and or permanent total an annual increase automatically.
You could do that.
Because you can do an
You
executive
could
order,
do that.
right?
Well, you could do.
Obama
I want
does
to.
it.
I want to not use too many executive orders, folks.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
we don't
because you know, executive orders sort of came about more recently. Nobody ever heard of an executive order. Then all of a sudden, Obama, because he couldn't get anybody to agree with him, he starts signing them like they're butter. So I want to do away with executive orders for the most part. But look, just do me a favor. Stick with me. You're going to be okay. All right? All right? Okay? You're going to be okay. I know. What you've said, I've heard 100 times. And the daycare is a huge problem. A huge problem. And your wife not working, huge problem. She can't. So anyway, and I'll bet you have a great wife. Good wife? Better believe it. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I work at education.
Right.
What are you going to do to help get the local control back to our
Well, we're
local
doing it. We're
districts
ending
and
Common
schools?
Core. You're not going to be educated. Your kids in Wisconsin are no longer going to be educated in Washington, D.C. by bureaucrats, many of whom, I can't say all, but many of whom don't care for your kids. They couldn't care less. They get big fat salaries. Your kids are going to be educated locally. We're terminating Common Core. And you will see something that's magic. And I've seen it where parents and all of these people, they're all in the uncles, the aunts, they're all on school boards. They get professionals. They have great principals. You can't see what's going on from Washington, D.C. Many of the people never even come here. They sit behind a desk in Washington. They draw big salaries, and they're telling you how to educate your kids. Not going to happen that way. And I've even seen it where the kid graduates, the child graduates, and those parents stay on. They love it because their child went through the system. They love it, and they become so good at it. That's what's going to happen. We're one of the worst in the world in education. We're going to be one of the better ones. Not necessarily, I don't know that we're going to beat Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and China. But we're going to come very close, okay? Yes, go ahead.
Can we get discipline back in school?
Discipline in school. I don't think that Wisconsin should have a big problem with discipline. Do you have a problem with discipline? You're from where?
Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Okay. Well, we have to get discipline back in the country. Forget about school. We have to get discipline. I mean, I have a case. I have a wonderful guy, campaign manager. You talk about discipline. And you probably saw what happened today with my campaign. He's a good guy, Corey. And by the way, the easiest thing, Corey, you're fired. I can't do that. Can't do it. So fortunately, I have a taping system. I'm rich, so I have tapes all over. So this young woman who complained she was talking about being maybe thrown to the floor and all this. I said, oh, that's horrible. And then we saw the tapes. Did anybody see the tape? What did you think, right? Nothing. Women are so... What did you think? What did you...
She just kept walking. There was nothing wrong.
I mean, she wasn't like her face stayed the same. If somebody squeezed your arm or did something really bad, don't forget, initially she said thrown to the floor. But if somebody squeezed your arm or hurt you, wouldn't you start screaming or something?
Immediately.
Did you see any change in her face?
She keeps following you. I reran it on a wide screen, and there was nothing.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's
horrible. It's horrible. Honestly, it's horrible. And the best thing I could do is say, but I can't destroy a man. I destroy him. He's got a beautiful wife and children, and I'm not going to destroy a man for that. And you know, when I saw that at the tape, at first I said, oh, this is terrible. Okay. Then I saw the tape. It's my tape. I'm the one that had the tape. It's on the ceiling of this incredible club in Jupiter, Florida. And we're all leaving, and we have a press conference, right? And the press conference lasted a long time. It was like 45 minutes. So that was enough. I'm leaving with a whole big gang of people pushing left and right. And all of a sudden, she bolts into the picture. She grabs me or hits me on the arm. In fact, I'm like this with my arm up. And then he goes by, and maybe he touched her a little bit, but I didn't. It was almost like he was trying to keep her off me, right?
They were like supporting her so she wouldn't fall. She came right in there.
Like he was helping her.
Yeah.
Exactly. And did you see her fall to the ground?
No,
okay.
She did not.
Because she talked about falling to... Now, I must tell you, her statement changed big league. Because she said, go to the ground. You know, all this. I could read it to you. Does anybody want to hear it? I mean, I want to be accurate because I like the press to treat me. So before she knew she was on tape, she said, I was jolted backwards. Was she jolted backwards? I mean, if she was, her face stayed the same. So, I was jolted backwards. Someone grabbed me tightly by the arm and yanked me down. Campaign managers aren't supposed to forcefully throw reporters to the ground. Except she never went to the ground. She never even she never even flinched. She didn't, if somebody grabs you, even one of the guys, even the bikers, if somebody grabs even a biker or punches you a little bit, you go, whoa, right? I mean, the toughest guy, the toughest woman. Look at her face. It's zero. They're going to destroy a man's life? And then I have crews saying, oh, that was a terrible thing. That was a terrible thing. Let me tell you something, folks. If I win, if I lose, I didn't need to do this. I'm doing this because I just had a beautiful grandchild with Ivanka. Poor Ivanka. Ivanka and Jared. Beautiful, beautiful grandchild. I'm very proud. It's my 8th. I'm doing this all for them. I didn't need to do this. This is not so easy. And I had no idea, maybe none of us did. I had no idea the message was going to get across. It's a message of competence. It's a message, it really is. It's a message of common sense, and it's a message of competence. And I had no idea that we'd have millions of more votes than we had when we had that stiff Mitt Romney, a total stiff running, who, by the way, he's a dope. He's not a smart person, I'll tell you right now. Let me tell you about Mitt Romney. That was an election that he should have won, and he lost. And he should just go away and let the big boys do it now. Because you know what? That's an election that should have been won. And I'll tell you what. I helped John McCain. And at that time, honestly, that was a tough deal for him because the world was sort of collapsing. And that was a tough one. But he lost. And I helped Mitt Romney a lot. And he lost. And I said, this time, we're going to do it ourselves. Okay, we're going to win. We're going to win. So just remember that. We're going to win because of Wisconsin, I hope. Okay, a couple of more questions. How about a woman? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Great.
Also, I'm a second-generation Ukrainian-American, and I was wondering, what is your strategic... Well, I know you don't want people to know what you're thinking, but what's your...
Right, she's so smart. I don't want them to know. I don't want to tell Putin what I'm thinking. She's so smart. What you just said is, what does that say? What about Ukraine? Don't worry about Ukraine. Ukraine's going to be fine. Just don't ask me why. It's just this world of politics. Mr. Trump, you said, don't forget, I'm the one that said take the oil. I was right. They didn't take the oil. You know who has the oil right now? ISIS has the oil. You know that Libya, ISIS has all that oil from Gaddafi, all of that big oil from Gaddafi. He took it. We're like a bunch of dummies. Why aren't we embargoing? Why aren't we creating a nice big circle so they can't get the oil out? Why aren't we taking that oil back? Look, I'm the one that says, though, I don't want to say everything. If I win, I have a good chance of winning. I'm the front runner by a lot. I want to go in there. I want to knock the hell out of ISIS. I don't want to tell all. I really mean this. I don't want to tell everybody in this room, and look at all the cameras that are going now. I don't want to tell the world what I'm going to do because they're watching. Just let me do it, folks. I will do it. You will be so happy. You don't have to know the details, okay? Let me do it. You know, I used the word before. We have to be a little bit unpredictable. We can't say, well, we're going to go and attack on March 14th, and then we're going to hit them from the front, and then we're going to hit them from the back. You know, Obama did that 8 months ago with one of the cities. He said, we're going in next week. Look, folks, you know, you have to trust. There has to be some trust, right? Do you trust? We've got to stop the stupid. That's why I really think your question is so great. I don't want to hear how you're going to do it, Mr. Trump. Just do it. I'll do it. Okay? I love that woman. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Trump, Melissa wants to thank you. She's got something to say.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Mr. Trump. I was Miss Wisconsin USA in 2005.
Okay.
And
I can see why.
Thank you. You have been, I just want to say thank you. You saved me in so many ways. And in recent years, I've been struggling with an incurable illness, and I'm on home care now. It was caused by a doctor's medical negligence. And in those dark days, fighting, right now all the tubes have been removed, and I have a do not resuscitate order, and I have a 7-year-old son. And in those days, in the hospital, I received from you a handwritten letter that said, to the bravest woman I know. And
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
You,
such a wonderful, beautiful woman. I mean, just an amazing woman. And are you coming along okay?
No, sir, but that's okay, because I'm here right now to thank you in person, and that was my biggest dream. And I wanted to thank you because through you and your organizations, my son, who is Mexican-American, 7 years old, through your organizations, and just being able to stand on that stage with you back in 2005, the outpouring of love that came from that ultimately provided my son, when he graduates high school, with a full ride to college. And
that's great. And you know what we'll do? We're going to watch him. You're going to watch him, Tana. Tana, watch him. We're going to be watching your boy, okay? But you're going to hopefully be around. You're not going to have anybody watching. You're going to hopefully be around. Those doctors are going to be so wrong. But we'll be helping you.
So we thank you. God bless you. And just, you know, he's a Mexican-American. And you, because of your efforts, have sent him to college. And I've been writing letters to him for when I'm in heaven to tell him that what you've done for him, now he has a great responsibility to pay it forward, just as you have done for us. And I can't thank you.
That's so nice. Thank you, honey. Thank you. I'm sorry. I have to go down and say hello. Is that okay?
Thank you. God bless you. Here you go, Mr. Trump. Here you go.
Wow, what a great woman that is. That's a great woman, great mother. I remember that, and it's heartbreaking, but it's something beautiful is going to happen. You watch. Something beautiful is going to happen. Folks, I just want to say, I'd almost like to leave it on that because we can't top that. That is so amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, that little, very sad, but I think it's going to be really a story of hope, and something that is really great is going to happen out of that. You watch. But it sort of tells me, when I first did this, people would say, oh, it'll cost a lot. Forgetting about the campaign, that's peanuts by comparison. You know, I've spent tens of millions of dollars. But the big thing, I lost certain businesses, and I owned the Miss Universe pageant. I bought it very inexpensively many years ago, 15 years ago. And because of the fact that they thought I was against this one or that one, I had a hard time with television. Now, the good news is I sold it for a wonderful, I was very happy, okay, with that. But I didn't want to sell it, but I sold it. And I built it to really a very good company. We did a great job with that company. Miss Universe, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. But other businesses, I sort of like the shirts and the ties with Macy's. Macy's was unbelievably disloyal because of illegal immigration. And they ended the shirt size. Who cares? I mean, it's not a big deal. But I'm doing something. Nobody else is giving up what I'm giving. I mean, when Cruz runs, he runs. If he wins, great. If he loses, great. He doesn't, you know, it's him. He's a politician. They run, they win, they lose. Who knows? But these guys run for office. That's all they do. I've always heard that if you're a very successful person, you can't run for office, especially for president. You just can't run for president. And I can see it. I have so much false press about me. Things that are so false. Do you know, I saw the other day on television, there were like 50, did you see it? 56,000 negative ads on me. 56,000. In fact, in Florida, I owned Doral, and in Florida, we had the tournament there 2 weeks ago. Adam Scott, the great Adam Scott, great golfer, he was winning. And in between shots, I told you this after the victory speech, in between, they'd have commercials, and they were all about Trump, negative, horrible negative commercials, mostly false, mostly, not all false, but mostly false, I have to be honest. But it came out the other day, I think it said $68 million, 55,000 negative ads. And when I was running in Florida, I said, how is it possible to win? I mean, with all of this, because I knew it. I mean, you couldn't turn on, in Florida, where I was, you couldn't turn on the television without seeing Trump commercials, sometimes 4 or 5 in a row. And they were horrendous, done by very, very bad people, very bad, evil people. And I said, how is it possible to win? And God helped me, honestly, because I won in a landslide. I won by almost 20%. So, and now they're doing it here, Club for Growth. It's a crooked outfit. Look, Club for Growth. You ever hear this? Club for Growth. A friend of mine comes, he's a conservative guy, calls, would you do me a favor, see Club for Growth? I said, what's Club for Growth? He said, well, they want to talk to you. I said, all right, send him up. He's a friend. He's a good guy. And now I'm in politics, so I have to see people that I wouldn't normally. I'd say, give me a break. So Club for Growth, they come up to my office. This guy was, I think, a former congressman. And he tells me a little bit about Club for Growth. I'm falling asleep. And then he goes, would you contribute $1 million? I said, $1 million for what? I don't even know you. I never met you. I said, do me a favor. I'm trying to be nice. And I said, do me a favor. Go back, write me a little note if you can. And he was stupid enough to write me a note. He writes me a letter asking for $1 million. I let him know that I'm not interested. You know, you can be rich. I'd rather take $1 million and throw it all over to this room. I'd rather give it to you for your boy. Okay? And so what happens is they write me a letter, put it in writing. I give you the letter. Some of you, has anyone seen this letter they wrote? It's incredible. They write me a letter. It's like extortion. They asked me for $1 million. I said no, nicely. And then they're doing ads all over Wisconsin. Club for Growth. They did them all over Florida. Club for Growth about eminent domain. By the way, without eminent domain, you wouldn't have highways, you wouldn't have schools, you wouldn't have hospitals, you wouldn't have bridges. You need eminent domain. If something's in your way and you're building a highway, if you're going to produce 7,000 jobs and you need a little corner of somebody's property every once in a while. You know, it's funny. These guys all want the Keystone Pipeline, right? Everyone. Conservatives. No, conservatives want the Keystone Pipeline. I like the Keystone Pipeline too. But they have a whole big thing on eminent domain in their prospectus. Because without eminent domain, they wouldn't go 15 feet. They wouldn't be able to build it. So they have a whole... So they don't want eminent domain. They do commercials about eminent domain. They love the Keystone Pipeline. And the whole Keystone Pipeline is based around eminent domain. Because you got to go from Canada, where Cruz was born, to Texas, where he's representing. Think of it. This guy. And don't forget that. Remember what I said. I'm going to win. Just remember what I said. I'm going to win. And I thank you, baby. I thank you. She's saying, oh, please win. Oh, you are so amazing. You are so amazing. I'm going to win. But remember this. If for some reason he does, he gets the nomination. The first thing, just remember, I'm a good prognosticator. I'm a good predictor. The first thing that's going to happen is the Democrats are going to sue Ted Cruz. He was born in Canada. He lived there for 4 years. The head of the Harvard Law School, one of the top people in the business in terms of Constitution, is saying that, you know, he's wrong. And we have other people that are much stronger than even that. So remember this. If Cruz gets lucky and he wins, and the only way he can get lucky is if he doesn't get, because it's all establishment. You know, if I go into that whole mess of the convention, I'm not the establishment. I don't take their money. I don't hire their people. I don't do any of that stuff, okay? So you have a disadvantage. But if Cruz wins, remember what I said. Just remember. Again, he's not going to win, but if he does, if he gets a nomination, within the first few days, he will be sued by the Democrats that he doesn't have the right to be president. And I think they're right, because he wasn't born on our soil. He wasn't born. He's not a natural-born citizen. He's not a natural-born citizen. I don't like to make a big deal of this, but it was just brought up by somebody. He is not a natural-born citizen. So if for some reason he should get the nomination, I really believe you're wasting your time. And boy, do we have a problem. Because you're going to have somebody that's going to be sued, probably will lose the lawsuit. Again, he was born there, lived there for 4 years, mother was there, the whole thing for a long period of time. And he was a Canadian citizen, joint with U.S., until 14 or 15 months ago. Did anyone know that? So he's a senator from Texas, only because of the great Sarah Palin, by the way. Without Sarah Palin, he could have never won that election. It was a fluke. But he was a senator from Texas. He's a joint citizen. Now, he finally gave up his citizenship to Canada like 16 months ago. He said, oh, I didn't know I was a citizen of Canada also. Does anybody, just like he didn't know that Goldman Sachs and Citibank gave him money? I mean, this guy is, you just have to study it, folks. Look, again, I'm doing this. We're going to win. We're going to turn this country around. We're going to make America great again. We're going to win a lot. But you have to know the facts. I love you all. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.